Jawgemo was an instrumental part of Evil Genius's roller coaster season. He was there for the lows.
Never been a 13-0 in any of the VCT international leagues. Winning out now, but so difficult, so damn hard, and it's the 13-0.
The highs.
This could be it. Another chance for Jing. It's all over. EG are your Valorant World Champions.
From zero to hero across this year, Lauren. What a story for these guys.
And surprisingly still here for their new rock bottom. I say surprisingly because he's the only player left from their Champs 2023 squad that lifted the trophy. This isn't anything new, since each Champs winners have had massive changes the following year to their core roster. Ethan and Max, aka Demon1, got picked up as a package to complete NRG's new super team in the Americas. Boostio is continuing a leadership role now on 100 Thieves. And most recently, Calm finds himself on Leviathan, which seems to have sparked some drama. However, I would have never guessed that Jawgemo of all people would still be on this team. Am I the only one who thinks this is crazy? Let me know down below if you think Jawgemo not getting picked up by anyone else is odd. I say this because in Tier 1 Valorant, he was seen as one of the best Raze players on the planet. With us heading closer to a Raze meta, I would imagine his stock will only soar to the moon. The only person that could have challenged his Raze stats this year was Jing, Paper Rex's de facto top fragger, who's no longer on the team because his nation is asking him to double satchel into the front lines. Maybe it's because he got overshadowed by his teammates' personalities, like Boostio and VCT's newest superstar. I mean, he did win MVP for the whole tournament for his in-game skills, as well as for his bad boy persona, which he backed up pretty well in and out of game. However, there was not an MVP for the grand finals, and I believe if there was, Jawgemo would have had a strong case to claim it. On split, both these players had pretty good stats and significantly better than everyone else in the server, where Demon1 barely edges past Jawgemo with 2 more kills, slightly higher average combat score, and average damage per round. We see that Jawgemo's kill, assist, trade, survival percentage were better. Again, both these players significantly higher than everyone else on this map. Ascent was a different story. Both struggled, and if you were going to give MVP for anyone on this map, it would have been either something with his 25 kills, Divide for his 24 kills and 13 assists, or even Jing because of his ridiculous 10 first bloods. Yes, 10 on one singular map. This is a stat line that not even top duelists like Aspas, Durka, and Demon1 himself ever got on a map during this tournament. Moving on to Bind, you can see that Jawgemo was simply just better. He had an ACS score of 360. Anything above 300 is signs of skill diff, or a player just entering a zone that is unmatched by others. Also, the only other player in the server to get 200 was Calm, who was still about 100 points behind Jawgemo. His monstrous game may have been the reason why the scoreline was 13-5. All other maps in the grand final had a round differential of 4 or less. This just shows Jawgemo's impact on this singular map. He also outplayed Jing on Bind too. Demon1 wasn't bad either, but comparing these two stat lines, anyone should be able to tell who was the real difference maker. And then there was Lotus, where a high-flying Raze flagger had 7 first bloods. Again, highest among all playing on this map. I rewatched the Lotus game to analyze each of these first bloods, and as someone who wanted Paper X to win the tournament, it wasn't easy witnessing this man just tear up PRX. Every single round that Jawgemo had a first kill resulted in a round win for Evil Genius when they were attackers. Only 2 of the first bloods that he had were instantly traded, so best believe his impact was felt. Lotus and Bind, in my opinion, truly separates him from everyone else. You can even say his Lotus game was drastically needed too, since EG only won by 4 rounds. I truly believe if Paper X was able to beat EG on Lotus, they probably would have lifted the trophy. Pearl wasn't Evil Genius's best map. Throughout the tournament, teams that had no business challenging EG were close to beating them on Pearl. They also lost on this map in their previous matchup against Loud 13-8, as well as to Paper X in their initial meetup. This just elevates how important Jawgemo was to Evil Genius winning it all. And if there was a Grand Finals MVP, it should have been given to him as well. But that's just an opinion based on these numbers. Let me know down below if you agree or disagree with it. Now let's go back to Masters Tokyo. There was a certain map that we know as EG's domain, Fracture. And who was their solo duelist on this map? Yep, Jawgemo. They were undefeated here in Tokyo. They even beat the likes of Fnatic on this map, the same Fnatic that destroyed everyone else in the competition during this tournament. The only map that they dropped was to EG. And our boy, I mean that dog, dug his teeth into them, having better ACS and KDA than each of Fnatic's players. This performance left such a mark on them that they opted against playing EG on Fracture again in the grand finals. To be fair, Valorant is a team sport, and each player had a Fracture game against a different opponent where they popped off. Evil Genius played Fracture 5 times and won each of them. However, Jaw's 2 worst performances still saw him having over 200 ACS in both, and in the other 3 occasions, the man was borderline touching 300. Nonetheless, Fnatic choosing not to play them on Fracture sent a message to the rest of the teams in VCT. If an org as dominant as them says no, then you dare not mess with EG on that map. Might explain why they only played it once in Champs 2023 against DRX. The interesting thing is that Jawgemo wasn't that spectacular before 2023, just like the rest of EG's core that stuck around after franchising. Don't get me wrong, to get into Tier 1 Valorant puts you in the 0.1% of all Valorant players. But compared to other top duelists in 2022 and 2021, Jawgemo was nowhere near them. However, I think having a 10-man paired with an excellent coaching staff led by Potter helped shape each of these players into becoming even better. I'm sure that the majority of players in Tier 1 Valorant practice pretty hard, but having a reserve unit willing to mimic other teams and run plays over 100 times a day is a different level of exercise.
Having the reserve roster has been really beneficial for us this year. We made the team get rushed on like 100 times. The same site, the same strat, and you know, the players go crazy. How boring is that? But for me, I needed them to be able to react the same way and see the pattern, see the vision. And so being able to do that, being really redundant in those kinds of things has been awesome, you know? And you're not going to find a scrim partner that's going to be willing to do those things. So yeah, having the reserve roster has been awesome in that regard.
We're winning, so who cares how boring it is during like the hard parts?
Right.
It's fun winning, but definitely there's been some times where it's just like I'm playing C and then the reserve team will just hit on my side like 15 times in a row and you just do it over and over again.
I'm sure at the end of each week, it felt like they were stepping out of the hyperbolic time chamber stronger and better than they were before. This type of practice and training, I believe, helped elevate each player on this team to reach those championship level heights. It's unfortunate that we don't get to see them run it back together. With Max and Ethan on NRG, Busio gone to 100 Thieves, and Calm now with Leviathan, it still baffles me how Jawgemo is the only one not poached from this team. Did he not get offers? If he did, were they not good enough for him to jump ship like his other teammates? Shoot, there's a reason why he has a Cambodian flag. Just like Russ having a dual citizenship on GE Fighting, I'm sure Jawgemo could have gone in on a Pacific team without having to count as an import. I would imagine that he would have been a great fit for Paper X since they lost Jing to military service. Or almost any team, in fact. Of course, this is just me throwing out ideas. He may not want to travel all the way from competing in Cali to Korea. It still doesn't change the fact that we're getting closer to a Raze meta since Jet got further nerfs after Champs. Split and Bind are definitely Raze maps. I can see the Agent thriving on Sunset too. The only 2 maps in the competitive pool that I think you can easily say that you will pick Jet over Raze is Breeze and Ascent. Shoot, both teams that made it to the grand finals of Champs were running Raze on Lotus too. You would think more teams would notice that and try to get a crack Raze main like Jawgemo. I mean, we may never, ever know why he isn't on another team right now. Oh. Nonetheless, in 2024, it seems things are looking bleak for everyone under the Valorant EG banner. There are rumors that FlyQuest could come in and take the team, but those are just rumors. However, this isn't anything new for Potter and Jawgemo. Because of the team's success in 2023, they have been given crazy opportunity that no one else, not even in other leagues, have seen. Yes, the first seed in each region has a bye, but Evil Genius has a week-long break to witness their previous opponent and prepare a counter strategy against them. If they win their first match, then all that would be needed is 1 win to make it to Madrid. It would be easier said than done, because only 2 teams from each league can move on. The Americas region has been busy building super teams, so you can believe that this league has gotten even more competitive. Only time will tell if Jawgemo, with the help of Potter, Derek, Afpath, Nature, Foe, and Superman have what it takes to shock everyone once again.